I would like to remind everybody that this anime was in production hell for 5 years. Don't believe me? If you do a quick Google search, just literally type in Uzumaki took 5 years, you can instantly see a bunch of people talking about, even 2 years ago, even on Reddit, saying it was delayed. And, you know, it's been 5 years that Uzumaki's anime has been in production, and it took 5 years for 4 episodes to see the light of day. And this is literally the hard work and stuff that was given. After 4 years, this is what the anime looks like. And this is horrific, and not in a good way. This is horrific in a comedic and just awful way. Because it's like, for one, I can't help but feel bad for Junji Ito, that anytime any of his works get, like, adapted, like, turned into an anime, they're not good. Like, they're just straight up, they're not good. And it's like, it feels like at this point, Junji Ito, the author, an artist, he's cursed. Like, legitimately cursed. Because it's like, no matter what he gets stuff like this. And it's just like, I don't know what it is with, like, anime, but when it comes to, like, the super graphic, dark horror anime, like, for instance, Berserk, or in this case, you know, Uzumaki, I don't know what it is, but, like, Japanese studios just cannot get it right. I don't really know the full reason why, but obviously, it does come down to probably mismanagement, poor decision-making, production hell, all sorts of stuff, but it's just like, I don't know why it always happens to, like, the most darkest stories, and stories that legitimately are, like, a cult classic, or have a cult following, so to speak. I don't know why that happens, but let's dive into this. Okay, so this isn't the only anime I want to showcase in this video. I also want to showcase Blue Lock, and it is very relevant to this discussion because obviously in this anime season, we have, let's just be blunt, some of the best anime airing right now. Like, just to name a few on the top of my head, we have ReZero, Daima, Bleach, and, you know, those 3 alone are just huge in terms of popularity, and people have been waiting for them for a very long time. And there's quite a other few anime that people can mention as well in the comments below. But the point I'm getting at is that this anime season, Fall of Anime 2024, is a highly anticipated anime season with a lot of continuations, a lot of new anime, you get the point. And, you know, with all this high-quality stuff we've been getting, especially, like, even with the One Piece episode this last weekend, obviously there needs to be an equivalent exchange. On one hand, we have high-quality anime. On the other, we have literally the first anime, or the first few anime to ever be made without animation, or PNG animation. And that's wild. Like, okay, let's take a look here at Blue Box for a second. This is from Season 2, and at first glance, when you look at the artwork of this, you know, the scene here, it doesn't necessarily look bad. Like, the artwork looks great. But when you take a hard look at what's going on here, it's literally just PNGs on the screen with still frames, and they just have mouth movement going on. This feels very early 80s, 90s type animation design, and it just feels straight up extremely lazy. I don't know necessarily what's going on behind the scenes, but this isn't the only example of Blue Lock Season 2 doing this. It's been happening for the past few episodes, and it's just like, what the hell happened? Like, you go back to the first episode of Blue Lock, and it was, everybody was talking about Blue Lock. Everybody was talking about the art and animation, you know, the sports aspect of it, like, this might be the next Haikyuu. You had a lot of conversation around it. And then, you fast forward to today with Season 2, and it just, the animation has done a massive fall off. Like, it's just literally PNG still frames moving around and all that with CGI used, like a soccer ball CGI used. It's just like, it feels so lifeless. It doesn't feel like it once was. And it just feels like it went completely downgrade. Like, we're talking about, like, it lost 95% of its aura, basically, if you wanted to use aura scaling with the Season 2 adaptation. But I don't know what it is, but it's like, this anime season has had just such a wide discrepancy between two different sides, to the very high quality, to the very horrible looking shows, and in this case, that's what's happening with Blue Lock as well. And so, let's get back into Uzumaki for a second, because this is something I do want to talk about. You know, Uzumaki is a good story. It's legitimately a great piece of fiction. There's a reason why people have been desperately awaiting the anime adaptation for 5 years. I mean, once again, a quick Google search, you can easily see people have been wanting that adaptation for a very long time. And from the way the first episode was depicted, Uzumaki was incredible. Like, Hell, I'll be honest with you, that first episode was honestly so misleading. It was like the most misleading first episode in comparison to what to expect from the anime, because it's like the difference of quality from episode 1 to episode 2, 3, and onward is just insane. Like, it is actually insane. Like, if you were to put them side by side, the animation, I'd be like, they're not even the same series, and legitimately, I don't even feel like they are, really. Now, there's been a lot of things I've seen in terms of discussion around, Uzumaki's anime in general, and one of the big things I've seen a lot of people kind of cite and highlight why it is like it is because apparently there's two different animation studios that are working on this project. For instance, you have the original animation studio that worked on the first episode, and then they were, like, traded off for the following episodes. Also, like, a different director, like a different team, and, obviously that will cause a lot of discrepancies and differences between the adaptation of the episodes. But on top of that as well, you know, it's very clear something's been going on for a long time with the series. I mean, a 5-year delay, that's insane for an anime. Like, anime doesn't normally, let's be honest, get delayed. They don't. I mean, look at 86. At the maximum that, like, you know, they were given from Aniplex, like A1 Pictures was literally a year for 86. And even then, when they released it, it was barely even ready. It was an incredible product, but you get the point. You know, when you see a 5-year delay for an anime, that is not normal by any means. This isn't like, you know, Hollywood. This isn't like Western games and stuff like that. This is straight up anime, and usually they mass produce that stuff and they pump it out very quickly. So the fact that it took 5 years, it shows there was so many problems behind the scenes that honestly there was already so many red flags in the review mirror that we should have already seen. Like, we should have saw it coming for a very long time, but obviously with the trailers looking very good and mostly just showing footage from episode 1 to episode 1 legitimately being a great episode, you know, it got a lot of people invested. And then when they sat down and they watched it, it was a train wreck. It's honestly, Uzumaki's overall situation right now in terms of anime might be one of the worst train wreck adaptations I think I've seen in a long time. And I'm not just saying this because it's, you know, popular to talk about Uzumaki in a negative light right now. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of bad anime adaptations, and the last one I have seen that was just truly to this level, that really is a dumpster fire, was Record of Ragnarok. And if I'm discounting that, I would say the Seven Deadly Sins, or the Seven Deadly Frames. I'm gonna be honest with you, the animation of the Seven Deadly Sins, that iconic Escanor versus Meliodas fight, and I want to puke, the fact that I'm even saying this in a positive way. The Escanor versus Meliodas fight had better art and animation. Well, okay, maybe not art. It had better animation. And that is absolutely insane. It was bottom of the barrel, like almost as low as you could go in terms of an adaptation for a shonen fight. And the fact that I can, in some shape or form, positively say that is better than this is insane. That is gross. That actually makes me a little bit sick in my stomach, the fact that I'm even saying something positive about that Escanor versus Meliodas fight. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is that, I could not imagine, like, mega fans of Junji Ito, and, like, people have been waiting for this for years, and when they finally got to sit down and watch it, how disappointed they are. Like, I could not begin to imagine my rage and just my anger at the situation. I've seen a lot of it in these past few days, or actually past few weeks since, you know, these episodes have been coming out, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, if it was Adult Swim or not that really caused these issues, but whatever caused this, I really do hope whoever was on this team, the production staff, the committee, the director, the animators, they learn a very hard lesson from this, and they just don't replicate whatever the hell happened here, because, like, whatever happened here should be literally used as an example of what not to do with anime production. So anyways, let's talk about Blue Lock. Since I already briefly mentioned it, you know, early on in this video, let's talk about this art and animation, and, is it as bad as Uzumaki? Well, there is a line to be made between both, and I do think that, you know, in general, the anticipation and hype that Uzumaki garnered for 5 years definitely is going to sting a lot harder than maybe Blue Lock, but I do think that Blue Lock in general definitely got people's expectations and hopes up a lot higher than probably Uzumaki did, and hear me out. Season 1 legitimately was amazing. It was a good adaptation, good art and animation. It wasn't like the best I've ever seen, but it was good. It was really good, accompanied with really beautiful art. And it made a lot of sense why people were calling, like, Blue Lock the next Haikyuu, or, you know, Kuroko no Basket, you get the point. A lot of people were highlighting that Blue Lock has so much potential. You fast forward to today, and you fast forward to the latest episodes of Season 2, it literally has lost pretty much all of its animation. The art still looks good, but the animation literally is just PNGs moving from screen to screen, which even me, I can do that. And I'm not even really good with, like, stuff like that, or animation or PNGs and stuff, but even I can do that. And, like, I can do that in under 5 minutes. And the fact that most of major scenes of the latest episodes is basically PNGs or still frames is just straight up appalling. It's like, how does that even happen? Like, how did we shift from actual beautiful art animation to basically halfway decent to above average art to just basically no animation? And so, I don't know what's going on with this anime season. I don't know if they just straight up gave up on Blue Lock. Whatever it may be, this is definitely not how you win fans. This is not how you get people to get into the story. If you give a bad product, people are just going to drop said product and not stomach it. The only reason why some series can get away with this is because they have such a cult following and huge fan base that they're able to continuously have viewership even if it is bad. For instance, One Piece Dressrosa arc. I've talked about in the past, still very relevant. One Piece was just, it's monolithic, it's huge, and regardless of how bad the anime was at that time period, people were going to watch it regardless because, hell, it's One Piece. So it's like, only a few series can get away with something like that. And Blue Lock is not one of those series. Uzumaki is definitely not one of those series. Got a cult following, but it's also not one of those series that can get away with it. And I think that, you know, these two products are a good example of what not to do with anime adaptations in terms of production, scheduling, directing, all that, all the above. It's just legitimately sad. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching this video. May all of you be safe and stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.